Hello and welcome to the K-State Collegiate Sports Vlog. I am your host, K-State Collegiate Sports editor Tim Everson, and I am here with
Andrew Hammond, the football beat writer for the K-State Collegian.
And just like every week, we will be previewing the matchup this weekend between K-State and number 2 TCU. Quite a daunting task for the Wildcats this weekend. But before we do that, we're going to do something a little new because last week was our first road trip as a collegiate staff, and we're going to talk about our trip down to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Not necessarily the game part, just the trip in general. Andrew, what were some of your thoughts?
Stillwater as a town, it's kind of similar to Manhattan, kind of secluded. Actually, very secluded, more secluded than Manhattan.
I would say so.
But it was interesting getting to the game. You can tell when it's a football Saturday in Stillwater because everybody and their grandmother and their grandmother's grandmother decides to be on the road.
Yeah, the traffic was crazy. It's obvious that Stillwater, similar to Manhattan, is a town that centers around Oklahoma State football, centers around the university. The road trip was okay.
Yes.
It was. We got some Whataburger. Always delicious.
K-State lost the game.
They did.
But we won the road trip.
We won the road trip.
And we did some singing on the way.
We did some singing.
Are you ready?
Oklahoma, and the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Okay.
All right, and that's all that you get to hear. But we did a lot more than that. And,
I'm pretty sure we kept Shelton Birch, our video guy, apprised of singing.
That poor man.
That poor
He's actually
guy.
sitting in the background.
Yeah.
God bless that man.
You know what? He deserves a gold star.
He does.
But the game.
What a game it was. Weird game. Cody Cook, seemingly now K-State's best quarterback, possibly?
Well, as according to your column on Monday,
Yes.
it should be. But no, Cody Cook came in after Joe Huebner got hurt on the first series of the ball game, and all of a sudden, Kansas State has, I don't think they want to admit it, but they have a quarterback controversy because Cody Cook came in and did a fantastic job of not even managing the offense, but expanding on the offense, giving it a little life, actually a lot of life. And all of a sudden, Kansas State was in that ball game. They had control. You can make an argument for maybe 2.5 quarters of that game.
I'd say even 3. The offense did kind of stall at the beginning of the third quarter once Oklahoma State kind of turned up the heat defensively, but let me tell you, I have not felt the way that I felt about a quarterback this season than I did with Cody Cook. He was poised, he was confident, but we'll get into that a little more in our right or wrong segment. Tuesday, Coach Snyder had his weekday press conference, and what were kind of some things that you kind of noticed from him and the players?
I think that it's highly inevitable at this point. The future is now. I think we're going to see some red shirts getting pulled. I don't know if that's necessarily a Duke Shelley, an Isaiah Zuber, but there's going to be some guys that are going to get an opportunity, and why not now? At this point in the season, when you're banged up on both sides of the football, the secondary has some serious issues that we're going to address a little bit later on. So why not put those young guys out there?
Yeah, no kidding. Coach Snyder kind of said it himself. He has never, in his 24 years of coaching at K-State, has never experienced anything like he has experienced this season. So many players, so many key players have gone down with injuries at such just not opportune times. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see how they manage that. But the players, as you kind of noticed, still kind of exuded a sense of confidence.
Yeah.
Like they're not number 2 or number 102. They don't care. They think that they can beat this TCU
Yeah,
team.
and if you look at TCU, TCU is number 2 in the country for a reason. They are very talented across the board. But let's be real here. This is their first big test. National spotlight. You had that game with Texas Tech, but This is a completely different animal. You're walking into a Saturday night Hornets nest, and those fans are going to be absolutely insane.
Exactly. Well, we're going to look into the Horned Frogs a little bit more as we go behind enemy lines up next. Hello and welcome back to the K-State Collegiate Sports Vlog. We're about to go behind enemy lines to talk about the number 2 team in the country, the TCU Horned Frogs, K-State's opponent on Saturday. TCU comes in with probably one of the best offenses in the country and probably the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion. Andrew, what are your thoughts on their offense?
Good. Efficient. Oh, by the way, very good. They have the TCU Horned Frogs have run one of the more interesting offenses. It's really not a. It's more of the air raid, but it's not like they try and speed you up like an Oklahoma State on purpose to get you off balance a little bit. But one of the things that they're so good at is finding the matchups and taking advantage of those. Quarterback Trevon Boykin is one of the most dynamic football players, not just quarterbacks, one of the most dynamic football players in the pro or college game right now. He can burn you with his feet. He can kill you with his arm. All of a sudden, he's got this team in position to be very, very successful. And this is a bit of a showcase game for them. They haven't had that kind of that prime time spotlight game. I mean, they had the game against Minnesota, but it was the first night of the year, and
they didn't look that impressive.
They didn't. But for the first time, I think, all season long, they were able to put together 4 complete quarters. Last week against Texas, beating the Longhorns 50-7, and looking at some of the stats here, aside from the game against Minnesota, they've put up 50 or more in their last 4 games.
Yeah, that's quite a big thing for K-State to handle. In addition to Boykin, I mean, a good quarterback is almost only as good as their best wide receiver, and they have just a killer guy out there in Josh Doxson. I mean, what makes him not one of the most dangerous people in this game or in the conference, but in the country?
Because he does all that you ask him more. The guy he runs precise routes. He can make a tough matchup on paper seem very easy. And he's got very long arms. He's very rangy. So, Boykin can throw it. He picks his spots perfectly. I don't know if you saw the game against Texas Tech, but just up and down the field. I mean, Doxson had 18 catches in that game, and they had no answer for him. And I'm afraid for this K-State offense, or K-State defense, excuse me, that they may have the same fate.
Exactly. Not going past passing the ball. You also have a very, very solid running game led by Aaron Green, who absolutely torched K-State in their last game. K-State, of course, coming in as the 3rd best rushing defense in the country. That's quite a matchup to watch out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it is, and I think that we're probably going to get K-State's going to have an advantage, because if you look at that K-State front line, that front 7 arguably is one of the best front 7s in the Big 12, if not the country, as far as getting it done, against the run game. They shut down the top La Tech running back. So all of a sudden, that they're ready for this challenge. I'm just worried about what they're going to do against that offense.
Exactly. Now, we're switching over to the defensive side of the ball. This is not quite the team that we kind of saw coming into this season. They've had a lot of injuries. They've had some suspensions. So, I mean, still good. They're still very talented back there, but kind of what does this TCU defense kind of offer to a K-State offense that's so hit and miss?
This TCU defense, they've allowed they had a lot of guys to replace. But their issue was they can plug and play. Those guys have had reps, but the guys that they had to start the season either are injured or they got suspended, And now you're putting guys into position. They have 14 players that have started on defense at one point this season. We're just now getting to October. So have those guys kind of gotten into their roles? Possibly. But at this point, it is very vital that they find some type of defensive structure. Maybe they found it last week against Texas, or maybe Texas is just that bad.
That's a very, very strong possibility that Texas is just that bad. We're going to come back and talk about what's right or wrong in our 3 or 4 little statements that we have. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the K-State Collegiate Sports Vlog. We're going to talk about what's right or wrong with these following statements. I'm going to say something,
Okay.
and Andrew and I are going to figure out whether that statement is right or whether it's wrong. So we'll start off. Morgan Burns had one of the worst days that I've ever seen a K-State quarterback have in quite some time.
It was not pretty.
It was not good. Poor guy. I feel bad for him. But having said that, and especially with how good TCU's passing attack has been, should he be moved exclusively to be a returner? And should he give up his corner spot to a younger player?
Well, this is a tough one this week. Good job. Well done. Honestly, I think you have to keep him there because you put those young guys into a position. Oh, by the way, you're going to be playing in your first ever college game. Oh, and you're going to be covering a Heisman Trophy candidate at wide receiver. Good luck.
See, now, and I get that, but at the same time, I am going to say that is absolutely right.
What?
Now, I think that no matter what happens, K-State's going to get burned there. So,
fair enough.
Do we throw the senior out there who has already proven that he can't handle the pressure, he can't handle this, the athleticism isn't there, and let him do what he has shown to be one of the best in the Big 12 in court and returning, just letting him focus on that, and then kind of following in the Dante Barnett model at Baylor, throw someone who has a lot of promise like Duke Shelley out there, trial by fire. Maybe it goes terribly, but you know what? They have that experience going forward, and they can build on that.
Which is absolutely, I can see both of those happening. I guess my thinking is, you do not want to have in this big of a spot, in this big of a moment, this big of a game, have a kid just get torched. I mean, you'd hate to see that because it wrecks his confidence, you know?
That's very true. I don't know. It's definitely something to look at.
Okay.
For sure. All right.
Gotcha.
Second topic here. Regardless of Cody Cook's status, we don't know whether or not he will be healthy enough to play on Saturday. But regardless if he is healthy or not, Joe Huebner should be the starter Saturday.
I think Joe Huebner will be the starter. I think that's right. I think he will be the starter. Now,
should he?
Well, should he? I would say. Oh, geez, good one. I'd say no. I don't think he should be. I think he will be the starter. I think you can put Cody Cook in some different packages. Because if you have him as a starter, then you're wrecking your quarterback's confidence. You're wrecking Joe Huebner's confidence, which I think in most terms we all know that he's very confident. He's very sure of himself. You don't want to, I guess, stir the drink the wrong way and ruffle some feathers at this point. But at the same time, you got to do what's best for the team. And I'm pretty sure Joe would understand that. So, and I think Cody understands that as well. So either way, you're going to have to make a tough decision. But I think you have to have Joe start. I think Cody is the perfect person for that Wildcat quarterback spot. And I think that if Huebner isn't effective, I think we may see a change.
And I agree. I did, as Andrew mentioned earlier, I wrote a column on this that was published Tuesday. in the collegian, basically stating the fact that, look, Cody Cook had the best quarterback performance that I've seen in a while. I mean, Jake Waters put up some pretty good performances, but also Jake Waters had a lot more kind of to work with than Cody Cook did. He ran the ball probably better than Jake was probably able to do, probably the best since Colin Klein has ran the ball.
Yeah.
He passed the ball. I mean, he wasn't booming it down the field, but he was accurate. He found his open receivers. He didn't throw a pick. He didn't look lost out there. And this is only after a week of practice. Now, I mean, circumstances always change, and he can go out there and lay an egg, and that's fine. But as far as I'm concerned, if we're at all worried about this offense, which we are, we got to go with a guy who looks like he's going to give K-State the best chance of winning that game. And as of right now, that guy looks like Cody Cook.
We'll find out on Saturday.
We'll find out on Saturday. All right, and finally, TCU will cover the 10.5 point spread on K-State. They will cover.
Wrong! And we'll find out in the next segment.
Yeah, I'm also going to have to go wrong. I mean,
Look at us agreeing on something.
I mean, I don't know if K-State's going to pull this off, but I made it. I made the decision after the game in Stillwater. K-State's not getting blown out this season.
No.
They may lose 5 or 6 games, but they're not getting blown out. I don't think that this team and this defense will let that happen. Obviously, I could be very wrong.
Well, I don't think this team's makeup, as far as the guys on this team, the guys that we talk to, the leaders on this team, even some of the young guys, they don't have this mindset of we're gonna get. But I mean, you can say that no team has this mindset of they're gonna get blown out, but acting on that is a completely different story. And this team walks and talks like they can do something special on Saturday.
Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting for Saturday. All right, when we come back, we will have our very special guest for the second week in a row. Our golf beat writer, Riley Gates, will be joining us to make our picks and to figure out who our players of the game are and our K-State pick and score predictions. Stick around. We'll be right back.
4, 3.
Hello and welcome back to the K-State Collegiate Sports Vlog. We're going to go ahead and dive right in to our picks. We are joined with our special guest, K-State Collegiate golf beat writer Riley Gates.
Hi, Andrew.
How you doing, Riley?
I'm good.
Mm.
Oh, hi, Tim.
Hi, Riley. We all know each other now, apparently. All right, we're going to dive right in. The first one out of the Big Ten. Kind of a surprising matchup. Two teams that people maybe didn't think were going to be as good as they are or supposedly are, in my opinion. And Northwestern heading to the Big House to take on Michigan. Andrew, you got the Wildcats or you got Michigan?
I like Michigan. I think Jim Harbaugh has this team playing like Michigan once again. So give me the Wolverines over the Wildcats.
Interesting. Riley?
I'm going to go with Northwestern. I like what Fitzgerald's doing over there at Northwestern. And I'm not sold on Jim Harbaugh yet, so I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
He nailed it. 100% out of the park. I like Pat Fitzgerald a lot. I like Northwestern a lot. I like what they've been about. Super, not maybe the funnest brand of football to watch, but it's solid. They're a solid football team. I still think there's a lot of flash, and I don't think the substance is quite there for Michigan. I mean, they did get hammered by Utah, who's a good team. It's a good team, but still, absolutely hammered. Alrighty, we're going to head into the Big 12, probably the marquee game this week. K-State's opponent last week, Oklahoma State, heads into Morgantown to take on West Virginia. Will it be guns up or will the couches be a burning?
Yes, burning couches. All right, sweet. I like West Virginia in this one. Although Carl Joseph is out for the season with a knee injury, so that does give the advantage to Oklahoma State on the offensive end. But I think it's going to be one of those Big 12 shootouts, many of which we'll see during the season. But I like West Virginia.
Right.
Andrew, Andrew and I just don't agree on much. I got Oklahoma State in this one. Watching them play last weekend. Come on, man. Watched them play last weekend against K-State. They were solid. Granted, K-State was pretty injury-ridden, but Oklahoma State, they played really well, and I think they're going to get it done in Morgantown.
All right, I have to agree with Andrew today. Yeah. Don't get used to that because we don't agree a lot. Coming up later. West Virginia is good. I mean, Oklahoma's better. Oklahoma may be the best team in the Big 12, and that's why that was as lopsided as it was. But Skylar Howard is probably a better quarterback than what K-State's putting out.
Okay.
West Virginia has a better defense. They probably have a better rushing attack with the Russell Shell out there. And they have probably the best scoring defense, not only in the Big 12, but in the country. And I'm not too sold on what I saw out of the Cowboys. They had to
Gets it.
They had to pull out a lot of cute stuff
Yeah.
to beat K-State, and they did. But they really had to, I don't know. All right. Heading into the Pac-12, you got Cal and Utah. At Utah, the college game day matchup. Who you got, the Bears or the Utes?
I like Utah. I mean, I just love how this team plays. They play a complete brand of football. Excellent in special teams. Excellent on the defensive end. Excellent on the offensive end. And they just execute, which is really all you have to do in college football. You execute, you're going to win ball games. Give me Utah. And guess what? I think it's by maybe a few touchdowns.
Oh man.
I'm in the same exact boat on that one. I do like Utah, and I like Utah big. I've seen nothing to take me away from that point that they aren't a really solid team, especially what they did to Oregon was scary. So gotta go with Utah.
Yeah, they dismantled Oregon. I think Sonny Dykes is a good coach. Unfortunate name though, but good coach. But I gotta go with Utah. I think they've just been too good. It's weird, like they're up there in the polls or anything, but not a lot of people are talking about them. They're flying under the radar, and I like them to do some big things.
And Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. I don't think he's gotten nearly enough credit of how he's maintained the excellence within that program. So I just don't see how Cal can go on the road in a tough environment like that, and those fans get absolutely insane down there. It's going to be tough for Cal to win.
Exactly. All righty, going back to the Big Ten, we have Wisconsin at Nebraska. Both teams. Yeah, this is
Not a good game.
No. Who picked this game?
I did. I picked it. We were kind of hard up for good games. This was.
You could have picked Baylor and Kansas, but whatever. Keep going.
All right, Andrew. Who you got between the Badgers and the Huskers?
Well, I like the team wearing red and white. That was cute. Who do I have winning this one? I have Wisconsin because Nebraska just can't get it together. So, yeah.
Same exact reasoning for me, Wisconsin, because Nebraska, they're Nebraska.
If you want, it's kind of some good entertainment, hop on to Twitter and check out Fake Mike Riley. It's a little different than Fake Bo Pelini.
Uh-huh. Is he nicer?
Oh, he's super nice.
Sweet.
But he doesn't really understand how to tweet very well.
And does not win games.
And he does not win games. I mean, it doesn't look like this is a good hire. I don't know. Husker fans are already pretty restless at this guy. I got Wisconsin, even though it's in Memorial Stadium. Nebraska is just falling off the.
You lose to Illinois, and not Red Grange, Illinois.
Yeah.
Who's the coach there? I don't know. They lost to him.
No.
Who cares?
Yeah, already.
All right.
Finally, wrapping up our only SEC matchup for the week. Pretty calm waters in the SEC. We got the Gators heading into Columbia, Missouri to take on Missouri.
Okay.
You got your Go Gator or whatever.
Who
Missouri fans say.
who picked Florida to beat Ole Miss last week? I wondered.
I don't know,
This
Andrew.
guy. Give me who I'm picking. Oh, Gators. Why? It's not even gonna be close.
Yeah, Florida, they kind of made me look like a fool with the Ole Miss pick. So
Yeah, me too.
Good for
Me too.
you.
That Gators defense is good. I mean, I mean, the cupboard obviously wasn't bare for Matt William there, but dear Lord, they're turning into something.
Gotcha.
And finally, the last game of the pick'em, we have Navy, the midshipmen at Notre Dame. You got Navy or you got Notre Dame?
I'm a lifelong Notre Dame fan, Tim. What do you think I'm going to take Navy? I'm taking Notre Dame. They're going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, watching the Notre Dame game last weekend, I felt really bad for Notre Dame fans. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Could be worse.
The Irish are gonna win this one.
You got the Irish?
Yes.
You got the Irish?
Yes.
I got Navy.
You.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. Look, eventually, Clemson's a really good team. They're a better team than Notre Dame was, obviously. And I think they might be better if Notre Dame wasn't as injured as they are. However, I think that this is the start of kind of a downward spiral for Notre Dame. Navy's undefeated.
Can I
They
get
haven't
on a new
played in-
show? Can I get on a new show or a new host?
Oh,
Riley, do you want to?
Yeah,
Do you want to?
Yeah.
No. You replace him.
Yeah.
I
We
signed
Okay,
both-
well, we'll talk about
I
that.
signed both your page sheets.
That is accurate.
All right, we're going to go into our players of the game and then do our sport predictions and then get out of here.
All right.
K-State, TCU. What K-State player has to be the best?
I don't think it's a player. I think it's a unit. I look at the receivers. I don't care if it's Joe Huebner, Jonathan Banks, Alex Delton, Cody Cook. They have to get the ball to those receivers. And if those receivers can catch the football, that saves a lot of heartbreak, and that saves a lot of punting out opportunities, a lot of 3-and-outs for this team. So if those receivers can catch the football, get in space, score some touchdowns, this game could be and will get very interesting.
Right.
With what happened to Joe Huebner last week and then what happened to Cody Cook, we don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. I mean, it could be all Huebner, it could be all Cook. So we're unsure we're going to get from the passing game, so we got to go with the running game. Justin Silman's going to need to be big for Kansas State if they want to have any sort of chance in this game.
Yeah, someone kept kind of quiet at Oklahoma State now. A great front seven there in Stillwater, but still, yeah, that's a great point. I wonder if he'll have kind of a reemergence as he's been pretty quiet. Mine may be a lost cause, but I gotta look directly at the K-State secondary. Signs of life have to be shown. You cannot let Trevon Boykin just abuse you.
Have a
like you
Heisman
let
moment.
Win the
Dear,
Heisman Trophy.
yeah,
man.
exactly. You have to. That front seven is going to get some pressure. You have to be able to cover those receivers. I know that it's tough. I know that they're probably better than you are, but you can't let them just face you like that on national television, even. So that's what I'm doing. Score prediction, Andrew. K-State, TCU. Who do you got?
Kansas State 41, TCU 34. I've got, yes, chaos, children. Chaos will ensue. Because the Big 12 is too normal right now. Everybody's expecting TCU and Baylor to meet up. But no, it's not going to happen. Chaos will ensue. This is too perfect for TCU to run through the schedule. This is their toughest game, I think, of the season so far. But at this point, they haven't faced. I mean, they faced Texas Tech, but that last drive, we knew they were going to score. They're going to see a defense, a front seven like this. They haven't been in a stadium like this. Give me K-State to win.
Alrighty, Andy.
My dad taught me at a young age to never pick against K-State. That being said, I got to pick against K-State this weekend.
They're going to kick you out of the family.
Yeah, he might. I will see what happens.
Probably.
I didn't see anything at all in the secondary that gives me any sort of hope for K-State to slow down Trevon Boykin and TCU this weekend. I hope Andrew is right. I hope that K-State pulls it off, and I think they can. But I'm going to go TCU 35, K-State 24.
Interesting. Yeah. I gotta agree with Riley on this one. Too many guns for K-State and for TCU rather, and too much uncertainty for this K-State offense. by a score of 42 to about 33. Alrighty. Well, for all of us here at the UK State Collegiate Sports staff, thank you so much for watching. We'd also like to send out a special thank you to Caitlin Frisbee, our producer. She does all the hard work here, and we just sit here and look at the camera like idiots and talk. All right.
Or just look like idiots like I do.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I try.
Alrighty. Have a good weekend and a good sports weekend. It's a weird way to end that. We'll be back next week as K-State gears up to take on Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Where maybe the song will make a recap.
Yeah,
Probably
you
not,
never know.
because
We can't
they may
sing.
shut us down.
Probably.
Have a good weekend.